The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. New York Mets, past, present, and future. I'm Ralph Tyko of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and the hosts are here tonight, and a special guest, Marty Rose and Robert Cole. How are you, gentlemen?
Very good, Ralph. Very good.
Good. Robert, you fine?
Yes, sir.
We are joined by Alan Blumkin, who is nothing if not a New Yorker and an observer of New York baseball and one of the all-time tremendous superstars at SABR, the Organization of Baseball Research. And Alan, welcome to the New York Mets show.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I was expecting another one tonight, but this is fine. Yeah,
that's the problem with expectations.
Yeah.
But this will be as good as it gets this year with the Mets, because we had what I consider to be a big victory last night. They made a statement against the Yankees, and I thought it was a good game. I thought it was well played, and it's starting to come together a little in quest of mediocrity. We've won 2 series in a row, and plus last night's game, which I thought was a biggie, and a lot of it is psychological, but there's that pecking order in New York, and I was delighted. So let me start with you, Marty Rose. What was your impression of not only last night's game, but the way things are going over the past few weeks?
Well, last night was really exciting. We knew what DeGrom was going to do, the same thing he does every time out. The question was, how are they going to hit against Severino, who has not been pitching well lately? And they came out strong. Of course, Yankee Stadium chipped in with the 5 homers. Maybe 2 or 3 of them might have been out at Citi Field, but we'll take them. And the Mets played very well. And I think, but judging by how they came out in Baltimore tonight, I think there's a little bit of a letdown. They were definitely up for that game last night. No question about it.
Absolutely. And I was happy the bullpen came through. Generally, with a 3-run lead, we'd be worried. It was lights out.
Yeah, I don't care for Lugo as a short man. He hasn't had much success doing that. Coming in maybe the 5th, 6th inning seems to be what he's good for, but he's got hit around a couple of times in late inning situations. But I mean, the state of the whole bullpen.
I think Callaway's giving everybody a chance. It is truly bullpen by committee.
Yeah, at this time, no question. Yeah. And you'll be happy, or if not happy, it's interesting to note that Felix out here with the A's did his best to blow a game, and the A's came through and they held on last night in a very, very exciting game on this end. Yeah. What, did he walk 3 guys, I heard? Did he walk 3 guys?
Oh,
Familiar?
Yeah, right off the bat. 2, I think he walked 2 of them, and somebody else walked 1, and they brought him in. He walked 2. Then they went to the closer. The tying run came up. It was a safe situation. They went to I can't pronounce his name.
Trinan.
Thank you, Al.
He's one of the few players I know on the A's.
They're a surprise. What an upstart team!
Yeah, and nobody expected anything from them, like what they've been doing this year.
They've had guys develop. They've had Simeon develop into a pretty solid shortstop. Lowry is having an incredible offensive year. But I want to tell you, this Chapman at third base, guys, you watch for him. He's making unbelievable plays. He's astounding an audience in Oakland that watched Eric Chavez win 6 Gold Gloves, and nobody talks about Chavez anymore. This guy does things that are unreal, and the shortstop, the first baseman, Matt Olson, is incredibly skilled defensively. So it's a good team. Piscani, the guy they got from St. Louis, is developing. They just brought up a kid to play center field who's fast and made a throw the other night that's on the highlight reel. Didn't need a cutoff man from way out there and got a guy at third miraculously. So it's exciting times. Hate to dwell from the topic of the Mets. Felix will do that. I think they'll go once or twice through the rotate, if you will, of closers, and they'll settle on someone. I hope it's Gazelman. I think he's very well suited for it. Robert Cole, what do you think?
The most suited out of what they have right now. Of course, Swarzak, if he ever gets back off the DL again, will probably be the closer for the rest of the year, and I imagine he probably will be the guy next year. But
what is the prognosis for his return?
I have not heard anything.
Okay. Now, speaking of returning, David Wright taking at bats. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he. I went there.
You were there.
Sunday afternoon.
You were there, right, Robert?
Yeah.
What was that like as a Met fan?
Oh, it was exciting. There was like 900 people in the ballpark, 800 of them wearing Mets shirts and Wright shirts. Everybody was gathered around the St. Lucie dugout just to see him come out of the dressing room. And, he came out. There were television cameras from New York there. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It was crazy. And he went out. He warmed up. Spent about 10 minutes giving autographs to fans. Now, if I was him, the last thing I'd be thinking about is doing autographs because, here I am trying to make a comeback, and I have a routine I've got to get into, and get myself loosened up and everything. And he went over and he signed for a good 10 minutes for people. And then, in the field he looked okay. He looked a little stiff to me, but I'm sure he's probably wearing a corset and other things, to keep everything together. His first at-bat, he took a call third strike. His second at-bat, he went down swinging. And then his third at-bat, he hit a fairly deep fly ball, to left field. But he looked good. And then yesterday, the Mets announced that everything was good. He was in good shape. No problems after playing. So.
You posted something on Facebook that's really a good sign, Robert, because if a ball player, anytime you're coming back from an injury, the next day is when you'd feel the ill effects, especially not having been in a game situation for a year.
Oh, absolutely. So
he played 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
Played 2 days in a row. Yeah.
That says an awful lot. We haven't seen Cespedes play 2 days in a row since we were both buck sergeants in the Air Force.
One of my friends calls Cespedes the milkman. because he's milking the DL for all he's worth.
Well, they did the surgery.
No, I don't think that. He's getting surgery on both the heels.
They interviewed the doctor that did the surgery on his first heel. The doctor said he never took so much crap out of a person's foot before. He was amazed that he could even be standing, let alone playing.
Oh.
Yeah, so they took a bunch of stuff out of his foot and of his heel, and then they're going to do the other one too. So, I mean, who knows what was going on with him? But according to the doctor, he never saw a foot that bad. So.
Yeah, and that compensation for that could have been what's causing the hammy pulls and this, that, and the other thing. So, could we maybe come back with a superstar? I'll ask you, Al Blumkin, do you hear word on Bruce around the league?
No, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is looking for extreme big bucks, and he's just not worth it. Also, by the way, you mentioned Eric Chavez. I read where he's the leading candidate to take over the Angels if indeed Socha packs in after this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he was even coaching. Or...
Yeah, I guess he's the AAA or wherever. I don't know the details, but I just read that in the paper.
Very interesting.
But Jay Bruce to me has no market value anymore.
Well, they got what,
2 more years on the contract, yeah.
2 more years, that's what I thought.
There's no market value.
He's rehabbing now. So I don't know what they're going to do with him when he comes back.
First base. First base.
First base. Yeah. Well.
Him and Flores will platoon.
You know, that's so easy. Just throw a guy at first base.
You're going to pay him $13 million, whatever you pay him to be a platoon player?
No, but my point
you have to get him back.
Yeah, you get him back, but defense at first base is incredibly important. It's just not that easy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they tried to make Mantle into a first baseman. DiMaggio, that's why he was pissed at Casey all those years.
Yeah, he was pissed at Casey before that. He was pissed at Casey because Casey wasn't Joe McCarthy. Okay. That's why Rivera was pissed at Casey also. But, But
that went back to Rizzuto trying out for
But the thing is,
Dodgers.
DiMaggio's just a few steps up from Jay Bruce.
Yes. Just a few. But I say just throwing a guy at first base.
You're right.
Hurt. You could get a guy hurt. Guys coming down the line, reaching for a ball, awkwardly, this, that, and the other thing.
Well, he has played first base in the past.
A little bit, yeah.
Played a little bit in Cincinnati. He's played a little bit in the minors. He played a little bit last year before they traded him. And
we are also, even without Cespedes, getting pretty solid in the outfield. Conforto is turning into a good ball player. He, surprises me, but whatever it is, his first half melees, he's turned it around lately.
Yeah, but he's got to learn how to hit a slider. He cannot hit a slider to save his life.
Still strikes out a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a slider. I mean, you throw him a slider 30 feet out of the strike zone, he'll swing at it.
Yeah, well, that'd be a problem for sure.
Nimmo seems to be very good.
What happened to Nimmo was he hit with more power than they expected in the first half, and suddenly he thought he was a power hitter, and his average suffered. But he seems to be getting it back on track now.
He's doing well in the field. He's doing well in the field too. I think he's exceeding most people's expectations, except for maybe Sandy, who picked him first, right? A few years ago.
Yeah. But, a guy that's
with
made
that
a big
story. No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, a guy that's made a big difference in the outfield right now is Austin Jackson. He's a true center fielder. So Nemo's playing right, Conforto's playing left. That's where they should be, and they're both getting better because they have a true center fielder, playing between them.
They
he's been playing very well,
and he's rehabbing, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Lagares?
I think he's out for the year, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's out for the year. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Juan 10
but
games Lagares.
Yeah, he's hurt every single year. But he's signed for a long contract, right? Till like 21 or something. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He'll be back.
Well, it may come back to help him until Cespedes comes back next year, because there's a good chance he won't be back till late in the year.
Yeah,
Cespedes
no question.
isn't going to be back till August next year.
Yeah. So having Lagares, Nemo, Austin Jackson, and Conforto, with the possibility of Jay Bruce coming back to form.
Don't hold your breath.
You don't know if they're going to I'm sorry. You don't know if they're going to re-sign Austin Jackson. Anyway, he's a free agent, so.
And the thing
he'd
with
be
Bruce
a guy to
is,
re-sign because he's showing he can play in New York. He's putting up decent numbers.
No question.
I'd advocate signing him, but I was the guy that advocated signing Vargas as well.
Well, we all agreed with you on that too. I mean, that looked like a really good signing.
Right, as a fifth starter, for some insurance, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Had he panned out. Yeah. He's going against Baltimore tonight as we record. It's Tuesday. What can I say?
He's gotten through 4.5 innings, gave up 1 run.
Okay.
That's Baltimore. I mean.
Yeah, against Baltimore.
They have a guy, first baseman Chris Davis, who is in line to have one of the worst seasons ever by a hitter.
Really?
He's on pace to possibly be the worst.
Yeah, he's batting 160.
Ball player.
He's batting 160. His strikes. He struck out, I think, 143 times going into the game. He's second in the American League to the White Sox second baseman, Yohan Mercado. Mercado had 163. And Davis in the series against Boston, where they just got swept, struck out 17 times in 25 at-bats. Pretty impressive. Yeah.
This is the guy that hit 53 home runs a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but they're paying him $23 million a year. And so they're playing him, so hopefully he'll get the 502 play appearances to qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But they should beat the Orioles. I mean, if they can't beat the Orioles, there's a problem there.
Al, let me take you back in your memory that story of Nemo muscling up and trying to hit home runs. He's going great guns, hits a few, thinks he's a power hitter. There was a Yankee infielder, and I can't think of who it was in the 50s, that went to Japan with them.
Andy Carey.
Andy Carey tried.
Stengel couldn't stand him after a while because he refused to shorten his swing. And also, he only played third base. Stengel liked people who were versatile. Right.
He was the number 6 before Clete Boyer switched from 34.
Yeah, and Dykstra was another one who thought he was the second coming of Babe Ruth for a while.
Well, I think he might have been helped by some outside source.
Oh yeah, well he's a mess right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Lenny Dykstra was totally juiced that year.
Yes. He admits
they couldn't find a uniform to fit him.
Yeah, well, you look at him, pictures from him from 1986 with the Mets, and pictures with him from 1993 with the Phillies. He was twice the size.
Oh, hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like Bonds with the Pirates and Bonds with the Giants.
Well, let me remind that there are a lot of players that used or allegedly used and didn't bulk up. They used it for different reasons. They used it for stamina. They used it for quick turnarounds. Relief pitchers especially were reputed because you can't throw 98 miles an hour 2 days in a row without help. And to be honest with you, you can't throw 98 miles an hour at all without help unless you're...
Well, you're not better at 37 than you were at 27 without help.
Right. And that includes Nolan Ryan. You could think about him.
And don't get me started. I'm not a fan of his. Okay.
Well, would you say or would you surmise that he may have been getting help?
I don't think so. I think he was a freak of nature, but he wasn't as good as a lot of people think he was.
Okay.
I don't want to get into that because I can discuss that for an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Another former Met came up with Tom Seaver through that organization, and what can I say? I don't happen to like him for a number of reasons. I think he's sanctimonious.
Seaver?
No, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan had the glamour numbers. He had the strikeouts and the no-hitters. But as far as winning games, he wasn't all that great.
In any event, what's coming up with this week with the Mets? Start with you, Robert Cole. What could we look to? What would be a good sign that things are coming together a little bit? Because if you could just say win every series you play between now and the rest of the year, gives them a little respectability.
Right now you can look at 3 possible wins out of 5. You have DeGrom, you have Wheeler, you have Syndergaard. Those are 3 winnable games every time those 3 guys go out and pitch. I mean, and we haven't been able to say that in how long? At least now we have 3 games we can look forward to watching every week, and that's a plus in itself. I think they're coming around. This is going to sound funny, what I'm going to say, but I want them to win as many games as they can, but I'm almost afraid that if they do start winning, that, the Wilpons are going to say, well, look, we don't have to do anything in the off season. It was just a couple of injuries, and we're ready to go. We'll just stay the way we are, and that scares me.
Do both of you think that the Wilpons are the real problem with the organization?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're still doing things on the cheap, okay? If they were in Tampa Bay and, owning Tampa Bay Rays, okay, that's one thing. But, they're in New York. They're owning the New York Mets. They have a cash flow. Everybody knows they have a cash flow. And they're still acting like, all their money's tied up, in the Madoff scandal.
Yeah.
Oh, if they sold them, Jeffy would have to get a real job.
Yeah, and he's one of the biggest problems right now because he don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, we know that.
I think they need to bring in a top-flight young general manager like Cleveland has done. Put some money into that instead of this 3-headed monster that can't make decisions by nature of the beast. If
Ralph,
decision,
the last guy that I heard mentioned was some 65-year-old guy on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They said that the ownership didn't believe in all this new statistics and sabermetrics and all this stuff, and they wanted to go with an old school guy. So it tells you where they're at, you know.
Yes. Yeah. And Sandy was an old new school guy. You know, I mean, he was an old school guy. He'd been around a while, but he still believed in, you know, the new methods. And who knows, you know.
But with that, you got to look the player in the eye every day. You got to find out, you know, just because the numbers say that he does better, overall, over the course of the year, he might. But how is this player today? What happened in his life last night? Is he well rested? Is he, you know, this, that, and the other thing? If you strictly go by the numbers and don't bring humanity into it, you're not going to succeed. That's the way I see it.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But they go into all this new stuff. I mean, you know, launch angles and
exit velocity. Yeah. As I said, when they started asking trivia questions on launch angles and exit velocity, you know, the apocalypse is set in.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it's all about. You know, the bean counters, they want home runs. You know, they don't worry about the strikeouts. You know?
I know that. Yeah.
You know, and
the fact that Chris Davis is hitting 160 and plays as a regular.
Yeah, because they're paying $23 million a year.
Yeah. Oh, that's the reason. But it isn't
49 games out.
Yeah.
We talked about something about this a couple of weeks ago, is that there are 40-plus players who are considered to be regulars with enough at-bats and what have you that are hitting under the Mendoza line. And it was such a shock when Mendoza was hitting under the Mendoza line. And that was one guy. They invented a word for it.
You only have about eight qualifiers in each league hitting 300 at this point.
More qualifiers hitting under.
You look at the top 10 that they put in the papers, and the bottom averages are in the 290s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah.
What's going
on? Of course, the whole thing with pitch counts drives me absolutely up a wall. I mean, Scherzer the other night, 3 hits, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. They pull him after 7, and the reliever serves up a walk-off grand slam in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, with the Rays a few days ago, Blake Snell had a perfect game through 5 innings. He'd only thrown 50 pitches, and the manager took him out of the game because he was concerned that if he went 6 or 7 innings of perfect ball, then he'd have a tough decision to make.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. That's exactly... that the poor manager with the tough decision, you take the guy out with a perfect game?
Yep.
Oh, my...
Took him out after 5 innings, and his pitch count was good. His pitch count was at 50. And the Rays announcers said, go, that was a really good decision on their part, not to have to take that into the later innings and make a decision later.
Oh yeah, you'd strike the guy out, and God knows that would be horrible. But would you speak, Robert, to the pitching change that Tampa Bay is introducing? The change in what's going on?
Yeah. You mean the opener?
Yeah. The rotation thing where they're starting relief pitches and
they started the year. Okay, they started the year. They had 3 of their young pitchers all have Tommy John surgery. So they were thinking they were going to have a 4-man rotation and have one bullpen day. Well, guys started getting hurt left and right, and they wound up having 2 starting pitchers, okay, which were Blake Snell and Chris Archer, and they had to fill 3 other days. So Kevin Cash came up with the idea that we'll put in a relief pitcher, like if the other team has lefties, a lot of lefties in the top part of their order, they'd start a left-handed relief pitcher, let him go 1 or 2 innings, and then they bring in somebody behind him. And they've actually done better that way than they had when they had a regular rotation going. And so he's kept up with it. And he'll start a relief pitcher. He has the same guys starting, starting the game. They're not called starters, they're called openers. And then he brings in some of his young pitchers who should be starters. So he gets 1 or 2 innings out of the opener. He gets 5 or 6 innings out of the starter who's now coming in relief. And now he's into the 7th inning. So then he has his 8th inning and 9th inning guys. And so far it's been, been working for them.
And when I look at the probables in the paper, Tampa Bay's, Tampa Bay's pitchers half the time TBD, to be determined.
Yeah, and that's because he's not sure whether he needs to use the guy in actual relief or not.
Yeah, the probable pitches to TBD.
Right. Like tonight, he started this guy by the name of Hunter Wood, a lefty, because the Yankees have heavy lefty in the top of the order. And then he brought in this guy Beeks, who they got in the trade for Nathan Eovaldi from the Red Sox. And he's pitching now. And they try to get like 5 innings out of him. Okay, and if you get 5 innings out of him, now you're into the 7th, 8th inning. And that's the way it's working.
Still in there.
Teams are starting to copy that.
He's still in there in the bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Yankees.
Yeah. So this guy Beeks is still in there, and he'll probably pitch into the 6th or 7th inning.
Tampa historically does well against the Yankees.
Well, at home, not in Yankee Stadium. They have a very tough time in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, they're over 500, which is, rarefied territory for them.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
I don't know if you follow them.
A's, not only over 500, they're like 13, 14 games over 500.
No, they're 2 games over 500.
Who's that?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, the A's are 21 games over, or 21 or 22 games over.
Wow, they are definitely just playing.
And they only trail the Yankees They only trail the Yankees for their first wild card by 2 games.
Well, they got nine games coming up against Seattle.
Yeah.
Coming up, so
that
should be interesting.
The Yankees
and they strengthened a very decent bullpen by getting not only Familia, but Rodney from Minnesota, who's really, I learned something about him in watching the documentary. You know how he wears his cap off to the right or the left?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not disrespecting the game by that. What he's doing is, and I heard the story, he's honoring his dad who worked as a laborer in the sun. And those guys, while working, wore caps to shield the sun. But if you're working on something and the sun is coming in from an angle, what they would do to protect themselves is move the cap over to an angle so they could use it to, keep the sun out of their eyes or whatever. And that's how these guys wore their caps, and that's what he saw. And, he was honoring his father, who had to go out there and make a living, not playing a little boy's game in the grass and the dirt.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting story? It just
yeah, it is. You just thought he was a weirdo before that, before
right.
hearing that story. Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys that wear their hats, probably after him, because he's been around for a long time now.
Yeah.
That.
But this is only his 8th team.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Bobby Bond said, if 8 teams want you,
yeah, I know.
Something to be said for that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, and he has been effective. My point is, they added to an already good bullpen with him, and so we'll see. Just that they were buyers at the trade deadline instead of sellers. They added Familia then, and
Fears. They got Fears from Detroit.
Right.
The start.
They're
yeah.
very good. And Jackson they picked up late in the season. Remember,
they picked him up off the scrappy.
Like four out of 5 guys have gone down of their starters. The only guy who's not been hurt is Minaya. And as I say that, I want to knock on Formica because he's going to be pitching very shortly. Every time I mispronounce a guy's name on the air, do something, bad things happen. So I just found the Formica. Knock, knock, knock. All right. Al, anything you want to add to it, Met-wise?
I just think that I have spinal stenosis, and I think that David Wright, he's going to run into problems to higher. If this comeback continues and he goes to higher levels, he's going to run into real problems. I don't think I may be wrong. I hope he proves me wrong, but I don't think it's possible for him to play Major League Baseball at any sort of level again. And I think, as Rob and Marty have pointed out, that the Wheeler thing is a revelation, because I thought they were crazy for signing him after the last couple of years of him being hurt all the time. Even offering him a contract, but he's turning out to be very, very good for them.
Yeah.
And one last point I want to make is most teams have bullpen disasters the way the game is right now. Look at the Washington, look at the Dodgers, look at even the Yankees to some extent. They all have disastrous bullpens.
Hey, Alan, speak about your team for a second.
They're up and down. They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one.
But they're still like close to 500 or over 500.
They're 3 games over going into tonight.
Okay.
And they get after 2 games with the Twins, they go home for a 4-game series with the Cubs, who was shut out by Milwaukee today 7-0. But and they brought up a couple of guys in relief. And they started one guy the other day who I never heard of. This relief pitcher they brought up that had 2 terrible outings. They shipped them both back down. What they're doing, if a 5th starter isn't available, like Tampa's doing, they bring up these guys from the minors. They stink for a game or 2, and then they send them back down.
Oh,
and
doing that.
Clint Hurdle's the manager. He makes an awful lot of questionable decisions.
But are you amazed that they're?
Yeah, I'm amazed that. Yeah, I will settle if they win 82 games. I'll be a happy camper.
Good.
Anything over that is gravy.
All right, Robert. Anything you want to close with?
Well, just hope that we keep seeing progress. As far as the Mets go. Like I said, I went to the St. Lucie game the other day, and unfortunately, I didn't see a whole lot of talent on that team. Nobody to really get excited about. Now that's A ball, but that's their high A ball, and defensively they were sloppy, and I was not impressed at all. So that's not a very good sign either.
Okay. You know, guys who we're going to have to bring back is that minor league friend of Mertz.
Oh, Jeremy Donovan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, toward the end of the year we should do that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
What thoughts do you have, Marty, to close it out?
Well, just hope nobody else gets hurt the rest of the way. And Alonso has started to tear it up in Las Vegas after a slow start. I've noticed that. So
he hit 3 home runs the other night.
Yeah, yes, he did. He did. So, I mean, they said they're not bringing him up no matter what this year. I guess they don't want to start the clock ticking. That's the usual excuse for not bringing guys up. But I'm sure we'll see him.
That's like spitting in the face of every fan that's out there. Don't bring the guy up.
They don't care.
Right?
They all do it.
They don't care.
They all do it. They don't care.
They all do it.
So we'll see him in spring training. We'll see him in spring training.
In fact, I don't think he's on the 40-man.
He's not. That's another reason. You're right. And he doesn't. And they don't have to protect him until I think the end of next year, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to ask both of you guys because I really don't watch them. But how good is this McNeil?
Well, so far he looks decent. His defensive
decent at the plate, yeah.
Yeah, his defensive ability is what's being questioned right now. I kind of think he looks decent at second base, but we'll have to see. But you know, he's doing good things. He's doing good things with the bat, but you know, until this year, he wasn't even on the radar screen.
That's because he was hurt the last 2 years, and that's why he's 26 and he's just here for the first time. He was hurt the last 2 years. So.
Yeah, but
he's definitely looked good at the plate. Yeah.
Robert, you talked a week or so ago about the prospect, the pitcher that they got for Asdrubal Cabrera, and just heard
he's in Binghamton.
How's he doing, and what's his name, first of all?
Geez, I'm going to have to look it up again.
All right. More importantly, he's doing well at Binghamton?
Yes, the last I looked, he was.
Yeah, and as far, what would The Rock say? I don't care what your name is, would say The Rock. And I want to ask you, if Tim Tebow can play in the minors for the Mets, can The Rock play in the minors for the Mets? Get another dog and pony show going, although there's a guy who put together a good season and is injured now, and I really would have been curious to see in September how he'd look. And that, after a big turnaround as far as his career is going.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now we're going to replace the Tebow question with the David Wright question. You know, are they going to bring David Wright up?
I think he's a long way from getting Major League at-bats. In a month, it's a month till September or less. And the season ends at the end of the month, so there's not much he could get, not much ball unless they bring him up.
Well, it's a month and a half yet, so.
No, for the minor leagues, then Labor Day.
No, yeah.
Oh.
Well, then, but then they have
playoffs.
They have ball. They play ball in Florida. You know, even after the minor league season ends, you know, they bring a bunch of prospects in and stuff like that. So
Arizona Fall League. Yeah.
So, you know, he can still get some work in, but I have a feeling they're going to bring him up. You know, if for nothing else, for for the fans, just to get another chance to cheer for him.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Because he's technically on the 40-man roster, although with him being on the 60-day DL.
Well, he's on the 60-day DL. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so they can replace him. But, they're not such a stock team that they couldn't make a place for him.
Sure.
Yeah, that's somewhere along the line. Maybe is Ty Kelly still on the yo-yo?
No, he's been DFA'd, I believe.
Okay,
Finally.
Well.
Yeah, he's been DFA'd in his career about 30 times.
Right.
And I should keep records on that.
Yeah, two of the yo-yos, him and Dendecker, bye-bye. Yeah.
Oh, Dendecker's terrible.
Bye-bye Balboni.
Bye-bye Balboni, of course.
Yes. So that's been going on for a while. There was Harry Simpson. I remember
Harry
Simpson.
Simpson, 2K Simpson, yeah. But Edwin Jackson and Octavio Dotel have the record for pitchers, which is 13 teams. And I think it's Todd Zeal played as a position player record for 11 teams.
Hey, guys, you know what I think of when I think of Harry Simpson? I think of a picture that I'm trying to find.
The back of the baseball cards was always him with a suitcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walking. Yeah. But there was a picture of he and 2 or 3 other Yankees just sitting, taking a break.
Well, they got Simpson in the Billy Martin trade from Kansas City, and Stengel, for one reason or another, didn't like him, so he hardly played for them, and they shipped him back to the A's the next year.
Right, and Enos Slaughter was around then.
Yeah.
And the picture I'm talking about has Enos Slaughter with his arm around Simpson, and they both have this look like they're buds. And Slaughter has this reputation as having spiked Jackie, being
He always denied that.
Who denied it?
Slaughter and Simpson were teammates on the A's before they came to the Yankees.
Maybe they became friends there, but
Slaughter did 2 terms with the Yankees, and they sent them out to Kansas City. He stayed there about a year and a half until they needed him back. And Simpson was on the A's at that time also.
Yeah. But they just look like contented teammates, and race, I mean, just had nothing to do with it at the time. So maybe his memory has been tarnished unfairly, given that he denied it. I wonder if Jackie ever denied it.
I think Jackie got past certain things, yeah. But one of the things that happened in the 1948 World Series, that there was a picture of, after one of the games, Larry Doby and this Indian pitcher, Steve Gromek, who
putting a big kiss on him.
And they were hugging each other, after the game, and that picture went viral. And it caused a tremendous ruckus in this country, because that was the first time that ever happened.
Yeah. They were different days.
Yeah.
Different times. Hey, Mert and I grew up in times when things weren't all that liberal,
Yeah, so did I. I mean,
there was that whole busing thing came in and all that stuff. It wasn't just that down south. There's more overt or covert prejudice in the north than there is over.
Well, in 1958, when I was 15, my father used to sell jewelry in the South and Southwest. He took me for the summer. I'm 15 years old, and I saw things I never thought really existed until I actually saw them. Yeah.
We didn't get to see a lot of that until I don't know what you saw of that in the service, but I saw some crazy stuff in the service. Were you in the service, Robert?
No, I was not.
Oh, well, don't know what to say. You'll never have the pleasure of marching down, of hurrying up and waiting. Hurry up and wait.
Smoking a cigar.
Smoking a cigar.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Pleasure.
Right.
Thanks for sitting in with us, Al.
Well, my pleasure.
And we will be back. You're always welcome on any show on the network anytime.
Thank you very much.
To have you,
I'm glad I stayed.
To have you back any day. It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure to hear your voice.
I'm glad I stayed.
We'll be back at our regular Monday next week.
Okay.
Join us if you can, Al.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Right. Be well, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thanks, guys. It was really fun as usual. Okay.
Good night. Have a good week.
Good night.